Hey everybody, this is Decryptolorian and I'm here from the Well Project together with Eleonora from BREEZY, and we're welcoming our November Vault artist, Giant Swan.
Hello. Hello, DC. Hello, Giant Swan. I'm so very happy to be here today. I'll be presenting Giant Swan. I really truly believe that this artist is one of the most creative art stories that we have in the crypto art space. And his art really is a journey that didn't finish yet. So I'm really happy that you all get to experience this. And yes, two of the keywords in Giant Swan's art are movement and experience. So it really is something that involves everyone. So you will be seeing some pieces that are collected in the vault, but also here our goal for the month is to present the art of Giant Swan from the beginning till today. This is why we will organize and curate a sort of like a retrospective in our area space, which I think it's very cool. Sometimes it's fun to think about a retrospective in just a few years of all these artists that create in the crypto art space. But as we know, the time in blockchain goes so fast. And if you look through Giant Swan's art, you will see how different it is from the beginning till today. Obviously, it keeps the spirit and its soul, but techniques, tools, like insights, different takes, corners. It changed a lot. This is why we really want to present the whole path of his art. One of the things that I like most of Giant Swan art is the fact that it really is like a true act of sharing. So we don't even talk about individual anymore. We just talk about almost like a collective experience. So this is what I would like to discuss together with Giant Swan. You create worlds for people. You don't only create for yourself. This is what's truly amazing. Of course, all the artists create something that can speak to everyone in the world. That's when it becomes art. So they start from their own experience and they speak like a universal language. But here, even the experience itself is included in this universal language that an artist is able to speak. So Giant Swan, just what is your take on how do you create this shared experiences?
Wow, wait, what an intro. Thank you very much. Just wanted to say hello to everybody watching and thank you for having me here. To talk about my journey as a whole. You really can't ignore a lot of the works that are in the Whale Vault. So this opportunity is really cool. It's a really important chapter of where I've been and where I've gone. So yeah, this is really exciting. If you were to look at my work from the early days of VR, you would be able to see that I've always been pushing to answer the questions, why am I using the medium that I choose? And looking for techniques to use within that space, pushing that space forward over, a collective amount of time to what's available now. And at the same time, when I came to the NFT space, I discovered language, and that my art was suddenly connecting with people, and I was getting feedback from that outgoing action of creating art and putting it out there. But then it was the honest conversation that started happening with my art that I realized, and started to honestly embrace what I had to offer. So what is that direction? For me, it's really simple. I get very introspective and reflective of moments in time, and then I try to make sense of them through wonder and I try to entice people through experience of art, showing you a story or an action, provoking you to ask why, and hoping that you come up with an answer of your own, and then you create your own kind of experience from there. In video work, I control your perspective, and I reveal things in a way that let you do the same thing. And in VR spaces now as well, people are now able to enter my art, and then they're able to come out with their own perspective and completely out of my hands at that point. It's really exciting.
Yes, and yes, it is very exciting, and it is so clear that your art pieces are so intimate, so personal. It is truly amazing to see how you can start from something this personal and to reach out to pretty much everyone, which also I think that it happens because another thing that I wanted to ask you is all these characters, figures, all your creations are not perfect. They look very imperfect, and that's because they are created with the most perfect tool that we have, which is our body. So you created with the movement of your body, but that's another. I think that it's another strong point for which they really reach out, because because it's almost like the eye and the mind can get something that they understand. So it's not like perfectly coming out from a computer, but it's very different. What do you think about this?
Traditional 3D art is mostly judged by how perfect it is. VR tools let me create in an organic way, and kind of break away from that normal. And I think that's why you see my work stand out against other people that create digital surreal things, because there is no opportunity for the uncanny valley in my sculpture. There's no ticking in your brain that goes, oh, that's not a real person.
Yes.
Instead, people, I think not unintentionally, but maybe not consciously pick up on that the movement in my works, even though that they're still, people see the organic nature of them, and instantly know that it's handmade in some form. And I think that's the first step to connecting with an art piece too, is seeing craft. If you appreciate someone's craft, you'll go into the details, and then maybe it will grasp you another way or something like that.
Yes, and that is your little trick to us. We think that it's very, we think that it's very digital, but as you were saying, which was my point, unconsciously, our mind gets, kind of like feel safe. Like, okay, this is something that I can accept and embrace. They're not going to, they're not going to eat us, these computers and machines. Okay.
All right, Giant Swan, those are fantastic answers to all those questions. I mean, wonderful questions, Eleonora. Your pieces in the vault, talk to you about some of them, because they're absolutely stunning work, and I wanted folks to see what we have in here. And then, like we had said, with our Arium gallery, we're looking to do a retrospective. So we're going to put some stuff that you've been doing lately and kind of showcase your journey, really. So let's go ahead and look at a few of them, and you could tell us a little bit about what you were thinking.
Yeah, so this piece here is called Signal. And it's maybe a little shallow in terms of it's quite literal and linear in what's going on here. It's an embrace, and people are staring at your phone, each other's phones. I think there's something to relate here. It might have been inception from a conversation with a friend, or even in my own personal life. Just sometimes we don't connect and we miss the signal. I wanted to place the two people between the phones almost, but acknowledge the contact that they're making, because I also wanted it to kind of challenge being a little bit more, what's the word for it? I wanted it to be positive, because, you know, like sometimes we just communicate in different ways. So yeah, this one was a fun one to do. I think a lot of people related to it really quickly, because it's so accessible. Maybe not my deepest work, but yeah, it's also one of few works that is gendered almost. You know, I've used very traditional boy and girl colors here. It's not very common at all. Bouquet is a piece drawn, a simple idea is, I watched a movie called Midsummer that a lot of, I know my audience, people who enjoy my art have usually seen that. Go watch that movie if you haven't. But it is a beautifully morbid movie, and yeah, this piece was a tribute to that, really. I love challenging people to bring them in with beautiful visuals, and then hit them, you know, like give them a high five and then slap them on the way out, you know. So I put this being in a coffin of flowers. Yeah, it was something dabbling in ritual and inspiration when I put this piece together. It's very flashy. This is I mean, this is as literal as it gets from me, you know. This is on the other scale of things. Instead of trying to please people, this is me looking at bringing, it's just, I'm pretty sure it's quite early for me to be bringing in multiple people, and then challenging myself to have them interact with something and telling a story in that way. A lot of the pieces in the vault, you'll notice, are still works, and they are images, you know, and it's so easy to say, well, if this work is so amazing in VR, why would I look at it as an image? And this works like this really came together when I was trying to prove that it doesn't matter if it's in VR or not, you know. Then I think they became is a story about me, you know, like it's me being frustrated with, hey, I'm a chirpy artist and very positive. I have to be to speak for my art. And now it's a thing where, you know, even we're doing it right now. We're talking about, well, you know, who is Giant Swan as an artist? Well, you know, this piece is about, well, yeah, it kind of sucked, and now I make art, you know, like that's what that kind of was a bit of commentary on. Maybe at the time, like I don't remember now, maybe at the time I just had some bad feedback and I was like, well, it's very easy to feel like you haven't shared the whole story yet, and I think this was an attempt at doing that. So this piece, Umbilical, is it's so much. I drew this live in front of hundreds of people before COVID. The first time I sculpted this work, this collection of people were standing in a circle at the bottom of the ocean. I actually still have a video of that somewhere. I might share that with you later. After that show, I pulled them out and I redid the sculpt so that they were in a line. And I love, you know, like a lot of people that are into gaming and things like that, I have deep appreciation and love for, you know, like Japanese art and illustration, and also 3-panel works and just long format, wide shots. And I really wanted to attempt something like that. I was using these pastel colors. This was still quite early in that stage of my art too, you know, finding a language of just simple colors, but enough to kind of wake the scene up. looking at it now and even comparing it to the other piece, you know, I've used that blue and that pink again, but I haven't gendered the people or anything like that. But then I've called it umbilical. You know, it's all about people being connected. In the piece, you know, there are some people that seem curious about the chord. There are people that are not bothered with it. In the central figure, there's somebody whispering to another, which may or may not reference another classic work. You know, there is someone falling apart, and their face is literally bent over, and it's just coming down and falling off. There are people not even facing the camera. You know, in this period, I think this was early 2020. Still, you know, like I'm still learning now, but this was me flexing and finding what my language would be for sculpting human shapes, and yeah, exercising that and pushing myself to do it more than once. You know, like there is yeah, there's a lot in this piece for me. I really want to go back and print it if I could, and then put it up in the studio or something. It'd be really cool. Still operational. Yeah, this is a medium sculpt that is, I was playing with themes and series and trying to understand what my, how can, you know, like you work in series, you work in phases of art. And in this phase, I was playing with rendering tools in ways that I hadn't done before, and also ways to texture and write on my sculptures. Something I do very subtly now, but at that time I was very keen on doing more of. Yeah, it was technically, it was one of those ones where it was a technical ambition to make this work. And then I made 4 of them. There was some others that were themed, and they were supposed to look like totems or possible grave sites or something from other realities that I'd drawn about before, and hopefully linked to again and again. This guy is still operational, appears in a more illustrated work that was never minted, but has a few companion pieces as well, and it comes from this this whole kind of sci-fi angle of indulging, you know. I think early on when I started to, the first time I met Eleonora, I told her sometimes I just want to draw robots, and this was me kind of doing that, and it might have been the last time I've done it too. Finding your language is such an important thing in your journey, and I honestly think that the only way to find what your language is to look at where your language comes from. So I grew up on cool stuff like this, so I think drawing it as an adult was super helpful and definitely an important part of the process. Oh wow, that's another work I painted live at Can't Do Tomorrow in Melbourne, and it's yeah, I've done it. This is actually sort of like a hidden series. It's one I don't talk about a lot. There are other versions of this. I've got one in my house actually. Forget This is about interacting with people that don't want you to remember them. I wanted to give it a supernatural feel with experimenting with light and different techniques at the same time. Yeah. This is one of the earlier works where you see me using open veins and loose, really loose, open branch-like external protrusions, I suppose you would call them. Yeah, it's cool. I like it. The triangles too. I don't use a lot of triangles anymore, but yeah, more exploration. I drew this during the bushfires in 2020 and 2019. It Should Just Be Autumn is about feeling charred and anticipating regrowth. I grew up on in a state park, and so the bush and things like that was imbued into me. It's just something I care about, and knowing that we lost so much landscape really hurt. It still hurts. I'm only just now this weekend getting to go back out that way to see what the land's like now. Fires are really important for the regrowth of, there's a whole cycle to every forest. It Should Just Be Autumn is really me wishing for that to be just the case, and yeah, that's why there's this charred person in the middle, and then me just trying to be hopeful in all around it. 10 a.m. is from a long series of the very first VR renders that I'd ever did as an image. There are 2 existing prints of it that my friends have on their walls at home, and yeah, it's a very special time. I mean, if you look at this work, you can tell it's me, but in the face and stuff, I'm still using geometry that's really flat and flaky. I don't do that anymore. But yeah, it was me kind of first finding it. I didn't even know how to do bodies in this, so when you look at the other pieces in this series, I mean, they're a mess. But there was hints there, and it was really interesting time because this was very early in my NFT career. And when I switched to doing this, compared to my other previous work, my existing audience didn't like it at all. It took me months to kind of show them, hey man, this is actually really cool, trust me. It took me months to get my Instagram back alive, for instance. And as that happened, the NFT space really embraced me. So I ran with this as my KO aesthetic for a while. And then eventually I just absorbed it whole. So yeah, this piece is really important. It's also my first one-of-one token on any platform.
Giant Swan, can you tell us how you got to meet Whale Shark?
Well, for a long time, I didn't know Whale Shark. A long time. It felt like months. Not sure how long, but just by looking at the vault, Whale Shark has been buying a lot of my early works, and it wasn't until I saw the same address, I think it was 185, he used to be listed as on Known Origin, and you'd see Whale Shark's name flung around on the NFT Twitter sphere, and when you're first starting your journey out, I mean, it's very easy to go, wow, I hope that person sees my work one day. Little did I know, he had already seen my work. And it wasn't until I got in contact with Xcopy for, I think, the first time. And I asked him because I saw that this person was buying his work as well. And we kind of pondered around and did a little internet sleuthing to discover, we're like, yeah, this is definitely Whale Shark. And yeah, because every crypto artist will tell you, you make a sale and you are beyond compelled to thank that person for their support. So learning that was very was awesome, and began a really that beautiful collector artist relationship there with Whale Shark.
Giant Swan, thank you so much for having taken us through the journey of your art. It's amazing, and it's amazing to see how much you are growing. And this is my last question to you. Where do you think that your art is going? What is the direction of your art, where that your art is going towards? And because I have been seeing even like from an aesthetic point of view, I have been seeing a lot of study and creation of new textures. Sometimes to me, it looks like coral or marble or plastic. I have a lot of fun to understand what these textures look like to me.
Sure. What's next? What will the next whale retrospective look like in the future for my work? I mean, most recently, I have fully embraced more video looks, more perspective exploration of sculpture, bigger sculptures, where before I wasn't confident enough in my work that I would give it a lot of space for people to take in a very detailed sculpture. I'm now just more than happy to fill the page, and that page is quite endless. So if you look at a few of my recent works, you'll notice that they are endlessly complicated and very intricate works that I'm spending a lot more time on works too. I've with the gift of time that freedom to create gives you, I'm using my time better, but I'm spending more meaningful time with my work too. So where some of my pieces today that I spoke to you about, I've said this might not have been my deepest work, but it was something that I was technically looking to achieve. I want to keep doing that, but I'm very aware that my visual language is in a place right now that is very strong, and it's still it's really, I feel like an artist who's blossoming right now, to be honest, and I think you see that in my work. I have the confidence now to face some very raw moments in life that I probably couldn't even put into words if I tried, but I can put them into sculpture, and I've been doing that for a while now, and it's starting to get pretty good at it. So I'm really excited about what that means for my art from a technical perspective, and then also from a self growth perspective. But for the audience, it means that they're going to see more works that are really raw and grand and fantastic, but they're also going to see what my big goal has been all along, and that's to put you at the front, that you're part of my art, and that when you're inside my works are aware of you, and that my works are still very much how you know them now, but from your own perspective, what does that experience do to you, and how does that change your perspective on what you think about my works then? I can't wait to explore that and push that further. And that also dips back to something I might have moved away from publicly, but not as much in the background, and that's developing my physical language too, in terms of sculpture. I'm constantly working on ways to print and resin and mold my works into physical objects to bookend the VR experience, so that the novelty of putting a headset on is not the first and last thing that you see when you enter my work. So as we speak right now, I have a show in Montreal with a work called You Are Not the Only Hatchling. So I do know the title of it. And yeah, it places you inside a nest of a shared dream that other people are going to experience as well. And yeah, I'm really excited to see how that's received, because it's going to inform a lot of decisions for the next iterations of that. The first version here is very conservative in terms of my ambition, and I think you'll get that a lot from a lot of artists in the NFT space. Is suddenly an endless drive to go forwards.
Thank you, Giant Swan. We are more looking forward than you are.